Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation in all ages of all seasons of life. This is a beloved community striving to live into its mission of embracing freedom, loving wholeheartedly, growing in mind, body, and spirit, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. We are welcoming of all people, of all ethnicities and races, sexual orientation, gender identities, social and economic situations, politics and abilities. We advocate for human rights and we strive to be good stewards of this earth, and we have a commitment to nonviolence as well. In living our mission, we recognize the network of relationships of which we are a part. This is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They and other nations were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. So we take a moment, as we have been asked to do, to recognize the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us in person and online. There is just no small thing to be said for giving each other and ourselves the chance to gather in all the ways that we can. It is so good to be together. If you are new to us, I want to invite you to get a name tag, say hello with the greeters and ushers if you haven't already done so, and help us get to know you. We welcome you. We welcome all the questions as well. And stay for coffee hour after the service for a chance of visiting in person in Fellowship Hall or out on the patio. It is lovely. Or stay in the Zoom room for a conversation as well. And let me invite folks as we are gathering and getting settled. Part of the getting settled is checking your devices. What are all the devices doing? Let them be in worship mode, if you would. For my first note today, I want to recognize that we have a lovely change of decor for the altar. Judith Corin-Shanahan and Dan Callahan were the masterminds behind creating our lovely decorations for the rest of this month. So thank you very much to Judith and Dan. Yep. And also, today is the beginning of our children and religious education program. So if you are new, if you're bringing your children, if you want to know more information, let me direct you to Jessie Lachlan, our wonderful educator. Jessie! Woohoo! She and wonderful volunteers have worked really, really hard to make the kickoff of this season possible. And it's one of those moments where you just don't see the work, but boy, it shows up when the kids are in a good place. It really makes a difference. So thank you, everybody. Also, I have if you were seeing the slides, the announcement slides before the service, I have a slight correction. This coming Saturday, we have a Mabon celebration here hosted by Keepers of the Great Grove. And it is, in fact, Friday. Oh, come on. Somebody corrected me wrong. Okay. Friday. It is, in fact, Friday the 19th. Oh, thank you. See, it all takes the village, right? Okay. Yes, Friday the 19th will be potluck and will be a recognition of the autumnal equinox. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah. Also on Saturday, if you're needing to get out and have a reason to get out and enjoy the beautiful wonderness of the fall and be useful, these are nice things to do together. We have the Illinois River Sweep, a good cleanup day, and it's down from next Saturday from 9 to noon, Poplar Lane Park, and see Edward Flint Edward Flint for information about that. We've been announcing that, and it really would be a wonderful way to do service in our community. Next Sunday after service is our Connection Fair. This is a great time to hear about major activities and groups in the congregation. Please stay after service and get to know some of the core volunteers, some of the ways to be involved. Also, since we're going to kind of getting into the mode of how are we connecting, how are we being together, we are coming upon the 20th anniversary of the dedication of this building. I know, right? Woo, woo, 20th anniversary. Yep, 20 years. I'm going to make a guess that some members of the congregation have been like, wow, really? It was yesterday? I didn't know. Yeah, because it can feel like that, right? So, and this came about from so many people's hard work, so much care, so many decisions. And we're going to have a chance to celebrate this at one of the services in October. The actual date, I think, is October 23rd. But we're going to celebrate that a little bit ahead of time. So if you'd like to see me, if you'd like to be part of that celebration, even if you weren't here before, we need some helpers to kind of think about how do we want to honor and cherish. And if you've been we're part of that, please come see me. We're going to have a planning meeting in a couple of weeks, but we can talk sooner than that, of course. And I want to offer a word. This is the time of year when we refresh our connection circles. These are small group opportunities to get to know people. They meet about twice a month. There's various times, various days of the week. And it's really one of the ways that you can get to know a much smaller number of people within the congregation at a much closer level. And let me invite Lydia Wilson to come and say something about that. She here? No? Not yet? Edward, you get to speak. Come on over.
So Lydia couldn't make it. Not Lydia, I'm Edward Flint. So I'm going to do a little bit about the connection circles that we do. So about 10 years ago, we started these small group ministry groups, and I was in a group with about 5 of us who were in our 40s and 50s, and then about 5 men who were quite a bit older, in their 60s and 70s, and 80s, some of them. And it was a great experience. We got to know each other really well, and we got to learn from the more elder folk in the connection circle, and we really bonded in terms of what it means to just be a man in the world. So now we started up a connection circle. I started in January. I do a new circle, and this time I'm one of the old guys. And so we're a couple of us who are more senior, and then a bunch of people who are younger in their 20s and 30s. And it's been fascinating to learn about the challenges that the younger people are facing and how different they are from the challenges that we faced. But there's some commonalities, and we're still able to comment and work with people and talk about things. And some things are universal about the challenges of relationships and things like that. So we meet every other week, or actually second and third Tuesdays is when my group meets, but we have about 6 or 7 different groups that meet throughout the month. And if you want to sign up for one of these connection circles, you should see Jeanette Gruber, who's in the back, and she will get you, take your information, and then you can figure out what time works for you to go to a connection circle. It's a great way to make really great close connections with about 8 or 10 people in the church, and to just get a deeper connection with people that are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Edward. So I want to invite us further into our service by going into our opening hymn, number 346, Come Sing a Song With Me. Please rise in body or spirit. It's in the gray hymnal if you'd like the music. I invite Pat Denzer for our opening words.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. The reading is called Building Belonging by Reverend Dave Breeden. Welcome, friends, newcomers, old timers, seekers, skeptics, saints of habit, and rebels of the heart. Here we gather not because we think the same, but we choose to join to go on a journey together. Belonging is not something given, it is something we build with open hands and open hearts. It is made in the sharing of stories, the holding of silences, the courage to show up as we are. Here we practice a radical hospitality, not of perfection, but of presence. May we make this place a shelter for our soul, a workshop for justice, a sanctuary where love is not merely spoken, but lived. Deeply again, in trust and hope, and in the spirit of belonging. Can I make just one comment? It's short. I just was reading, thinking about belonging and reading Reverend Jennifer's message she set up. And I thought, belonging gives your life meaning. And that's what I'd like to share with you.
I invite the Smezrud family forward for our chalice lighting.
Intention and Creativity by Dina Van Diver. As we light a chalice, a container of air, earth, and fire, this ritual of our faith reminds our subtle and crashing about beings that we are part of a collective, a community of care and connection, courage and questions, scared and sacred together. Today we gather with intention and creativity, releasing what we must, shaping what we will, in a space made possible by generations of community care and the courage of connection.
I appreciate Pat's comment about belonging as part of what gives life meaning. And in that spirit, we take this moment in our service for reflection, for a little bit of tangible action, a little ritual in the lighting of the candles. During our music for meditation, all are welcome to come forward, to light candles and make a small light that acknowledges what is with you and within you. And if you're online, I invite you to let these candles be for you as well. Let us now enter into our music for meditation. mindful of truth ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice. Reverently, we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love. This is the time for the sharing of joys and sorrows in the congregation. We offer best wishes and healing wishes to Kathy Carter, who will be having surgery on September 17th. We hope her surgery goes well and that her recovery is quick. And we also offer our regards to her spouse, Brad Keip, and for his care of her. I want to share a joy and congratulations to PFLAG in our area for marching yesterday in the Morton Pumpkin Festival Parade. Yay, PFLAG. There was like rainbows everywhere, man. Regina Stanley was a member of PFLAG and was also there along with a bunch of other folks. They felt quite good at the turnout, PFLAG did. And my daughter and I wore our newly tie-dyed church t-shirts, so we showed up. And we had flags and signs and just color all over the place in support of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual plus community. It was a joy to be able to be there and be visible in that particular community. And the cheers far outweighed a couple of negatives. Yep, people were clapping and really glad to see us, and that by itself was something. I have a personal note to share. This weekend would have been my father's birthday. My father, Chuck, died in February from cancer. He would be 82 today. And so we're keeping that in mind, the things that are still firsts after a death, and this is one of them. And in that spirit, I also want to offer holding this moment for all of us who are remembering people who are no longer with us in body. That those dates come when they come and have the impact that they do. We are held in all that shows up. In our larger world, Thursday was the anniversary of September 11th, 2001, of the deadly attacks on our country that led to massive destruction, thousands dead in New York City, at the Pentagon, Pennsylvania, and the loss of multiple passenger planes. Some years, it is a more present anniversary than others, and this year seems to be more so. I also want to recognize how our nation is responding in so many ways to the public murder of a right-wing person this week. I'll just say simply that such violence is not the path for any person of any politics or party. I also offer a message from our larger Unitarian Universalist companions, our president, denominational president, the Reverend Sophia Betancourt. Our individual actions, those made in love and those made in fear and anger or despair, have consequences for us all. This is a time for loving and rigorous discipline in our words and our actions, a time for strategic courage and courageous strategy. We must work in deep partnership, choose how to spend our energy with attention and intention, and stay unwaveringly focused on our long-term goals for liberation. And in that spirit, let us commit to building conditions where love and safety and justice can flourish. I invite us to hold this moment in one more time of quiet together, to be present to ourselves, to all the names and the milestones, the joys and sorrows that are with us and are unspoken. I invite you to pause with me and breathe. Amen. Shalom. Salam. And blessed be. I invite Jesse Laughlin forward to come talk about how we're singing our children out these days.
So, today, for our Time for All Ages, I'll be talking a little bit about RE. But before we get to RE, or before we get to the Time for All Ages, I would like the congregation to help us learn a new song. We have a tradition of when the kids and I and the volunteers go back, we gather in the RE Commons together and we sing a song. And for this year, we're going to learn a new song to us called Building Bridges. You may have heard the song. It's in our hymnal, and we'll have the words up on the screen. So we're going to sing this song together. And we'll do it today, how I like to teach songs to the kids, with a call and repeat. Okay? You in for that with me? All right. Reverend Jennifer and I will sing a phrase, and then you sing it back to us. Okay?
Here, I need some water. Building bridges between our divisions. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? We'll get there. We'll get there.
Start lower.
We start low, go higher. All right. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions. With all of our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. All right, Sherry, if you would play that through, and then we will all keep singing together 3 times. Bridges. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? All voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Last time. Building bridges between our divisions. I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all our voices and all of our visions. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
All right, thank you all so much. I appreciate you helping us start to learn this song. And throughout the year, we'll do fun things with percussion with it and in a round and speed it up and slow it down. So hopefully in May, you'll see where we've taken this song. Today is a very special day at this church. It's a day that we've marked here for more than 20 years. My predecessor, Amy Pop, you might know her, she's pretty amazing, started this tradition long ago. And it's a time where many of us bring a little part of ourselves to share, and we commit ourselves to our UU values. We used to say our UU principles. Today is the fruit and chocolate communion. Now, I suppose many of you are thinking, what? Huh? I've never heard of that. Anybody feel like that? Like, I've been coming here for 20 years. What are you talking about? Well, have you heard of it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Those people who know what I'm talking about, they hang out with me and the kids back in RE. It's because that's a RE tradition that's specific to this church that we do at the start of every church year. It's what we do the Sunday after in gathering to kind of kick off our program together. What happens is the kiddos bring in a fruit, or I bring in one of each color. We match the fruits up to the rainbow colors. We match the rainbow colors up to our shared values. And we talk about how those values are important to us. How do those values show up in our daily lives? How do we celebrate generosity? Maybe it's by giving a little bit of ourselves when we volunteer for an organization that we love. How do we celebrate justice? Maybe it's when we show up at a public action. We make a big sign and we say, this is what I believe, and we tell everybody. And the kids get a chance to see that our values are things that we put into action. And we talk about that. So, okay, rainbows and fruits and values, I get that. But what is this chocolate about? Chocolate and fruit, kind of messy, really sweet and yummy. Well, the chocolate is, in my opinion, the special sauce. The chocolate is our covenant. It's what we agree to be in community together. It's where we say, I belong here, you belong here, and this is how we do it. Our covenant might mean that we give our voices and make sure our voice is heard. And at the same time, we make sure that other people have that opportunity to share their voice. Our covenant might mean that we make space for the things that other people like, even if it's not our favorite, knowing that our favorites will have space made for them too. So we make this covenant together, this promise with one another about how we're going to be in community. And I don't know if you've had a chocolate bar on a hot summer day, but it can get melty. It can be a little messy. And our covenant can be a little messy too. Our agreements for how we are in community are messy. But I like that I have a place to be messy with people here and know that I belong and you belong and we all belong here. So, hopefully now you know a little bit about what our fruit and chocolate communion is, why we do it, and how it's a fun start to our church year for us. And I invite the children, youth, and volunteers to join me for a little bit of that fun today. And if we have any extra, we promise we'll share in coffee hour.
As we enter into beginning into our offering, I want to just share the joy of what I get to see in this moment. So we had clearly a lovely wave, if I may say, children, youth, and adults all flow towards the back of the sanctuary and towards the RE Commons. And look around, there's a lot of people left in the sanctuary. Ooh, we love it. It is so good to be together. Yes. Showing up matters. It really just does. In all the ways we can, in any way that we can. And it is one of the things that is so precious about why we gather in person, but also why we gather and remember that who is in the room is very much precious. And we have so many more people in the larger community, some of which can't get here and enjoy our company. So just the act of being together is itself a sacred thing. And we recognize how more meaningful it is that we keep creating this moment because it really means something in our lives. This is no small reason why we take a bit of an offering during the service to reconnect with that small action, that it all makes a difference. And we also, in our offering, send a little bit out into the world with our Share the Plate practice. Half of the undesignated plate on our Sunday gatherings go to a local organization doing really good work for September. It goes to 100 Black men of Central Illinois. They provide programs, services for the local African American community, work on mentorships for our young people to help them address social and emotional and cultural needs. And goodness knows there is so much need for people to care for one another and to offer positive role models in this time, is it not? And we get to add a little bit of our part in supporting that. So Share the Plate is half. The undesignated plate will go to 100 Black men of Central Illinois for this month. Please use the envelopes in the pews if you'd like to designate where you'd like your offering to go. Go to the QR code in the order of service as well. And let me invite the ushers to please come forward. And I invite Jean Burke forward for our reading.
It is all very well by Reverend Rod Richards. It is all very well to speak of an interdependent web of all life and remind us that we are all connected. We are. But there are times when the loneliness strikes so deeply that the only thing of which I am certain is that I am a solitary being. There are times when the only piece of belonging I can feel is the longing. There are times when the interdependent web just feels like a mess of cobwebs in a basement or an attic of the abandoned house where I live. Times when the spirit of life and love are just words written in invisible ink on a postcard to myself. Wish you were here. Be with me now. Don't try and talk me out of how I feel with perfect theology. Stay beside me and carry my hope until I am ready to hold it again and be there for you.
Please rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 123, Spirit of Life. It's in the gray hymnal. Please be seated. One of the briefest and most enduring stories from the Hebrew Scriptures is that of Ruth and Naomi in the book of Ruth. Naomi is from Bethlehem. Her husband and their family traveled to Moab to escape famine. And while there, Naomi's sons marry women from the area, including Ruth and Orpah. All in the course of time, all of their husbands die. And so then the women are faced with how to make choices in order to survive. Naomi heads back towards her people in Judea, having heard that the famine is over. And her daughters-in-law join her. But before long, Naomi tells them to head back to their families, that they will have better lives in the places where they came from. Ruth stays with Naomi, and she says, "Where you go, I will go. Your people are my people." It is such a simple story of Ruth staying with Naomi. They had suffered loss from war, from famine, from the death of husbands. The future, their very lives were not at all clear. And Ruth chose Naomi. And whatever would come, they would face it together. Life with Naomi, Ruth felt, was better than life without her. It was an act that was in part fending off loneliness, dealing with the possibility of isolation in grief. And so there was Ruth and Naomi making a choice, doing what humans do because we are made to belong. From Shoshana Jedwab, contemporary Jewish music artist. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. Where you go, I will go, beloved. Where you go, I will go. And your people are my people. Your people are mine. Your people are my people. You're divine, my divine. My question this morning is, what does belonging mean? What is this nature of belonging? As the poet David White says, we are made to belong. There's some answers in the course of questions I asked online earlier this week. Judith Corin Shanahan encapsulated it as being part of a larger whole, being with people who are on the same team, if you will. I kind of find myself enamored recently with this idea that we find our person. It's been a joy to celebrate a few weddings, both here in the congregation and out in the community this year. And what a precious thing it is, whatever people's age or stage of life, that they have found their person, and that person has found them. My colleague, the Reverend Sandra Fees, talks about this a bit, drawing on an essay from Marina Keegan, that belonging is the feeling that there are people, an abundance of people who are in this together, who are on your team, this belonging as this feeling, this state of being. But Reverend Sandra also says and reminds us that it's also a practice, it's a choice, it's a way of proclaiming we are in this together. We can't help ourselves. I think we are hardwired to want to be around each other. And just we feel this absence of connection when it is missing. I think that's at the core of so much struggle and so much heartbreak and so much harm we do in this world when we're feeling that absence of connection, how deeply we want it. But I will offer a foundation for the sense of belonging, that belonging is so elemental, that it is ours. It begins with the fact that it is ours just because we were born. Just because we were born. We don't have to qualify. We don't have to get the credit card check. We have the belonging that we get to have a chance to belong simply because we are here. We already qualify because we are born human, merely being, as the poet E. Cummings says. We count and we need to connect. But I want to acknowledge that not every experience of belonging is desirable or healthy. I think we need to spend a moment on recognizing the less positive aspects of belonging, because it becomes so easily toxic or problematic when we belong together morphs into you belong to me, whether in a friendship or a romance or a group or a workplace or a religious tradition. When it goes from we belong together to you belong to me, we get into dangerous territory. From my colleague, the Reverend Rod Richards. You can see this when groups become insular, shielding themselves against any critique inside or out. When groups demand unquestioning loyalty. When insiders are protected to a fault. Just contemplate the state of our politics on that one, shall we? When outsiders are dismissed to a fault. Again, we are living this. And I would also add that when we are being diverted from our deepest values in this process, when what is most important to us, with what we know gives us life, whether we're conscious or unconscious of it, when that we belong together becomes you belong to me, and it tries to disrupt or dismantle our capacity for love, respect, compassion, and justice. This kind of belonging. This kind of belonging wounds the world as well as us. Now, in case you're wondering, I recognize that having this conversation in church sends some of us into little vibrations, little like, don't worry, I'm in church, but I'm still having a hard time because of past experiences with harmful senses of belonging and expectations. I get it. I understand. I appreciate that you are here practically in spite of that. We do our best to go with the we belong, not the you belong to me or us, just to be clear. I know that so many of us come into religious community with real hesitancy, with real damage from other groups, and certainly from other faith traditions, whether in our own experience or in our public forums, in our public conversations. The behavior of religion has really done itself no favors. Some of us arrive here after escaping places of control, people of control, and still want connection, still need connection. What I hope we try to offer is belonging at its better self, which is authentic and not conforming. From Brené Brown, a sociologist and guide in many ways, she talks about belonging. Belonging is the innate human desire to be part of something larger than us. Because this yearning is so primal, we often try to acquire it by fitting in and by seeking approval, which are not only hollow substitutes for belonging, but often barriers to it. Because true belonging, she says, true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves in the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our self-acceptance. Take that to your therapist this week. Just so you know, you realize that all the sermons I preach are the ones I need to. I'm just saying. We are in this together, right? Right? There you go. Some of you in the responses to my question about what does belonging mean to you named that authentic element of belonging. That authentic element of belonging. That there has to be, you get to be who you are, exactly who you are, in all the fabulousness and all the messed upness of that. And who want that as human beings, we can find that in so many different places of connection, of home or school or work. Third places such as sports and hobbies, religious community, where we want to have multi-generational spaces, places where you might not encounter people in any other way in your life. We try to encourage spiritual growth, personal development, trying new things. And at the same time, being true to self. It is a continuous exercise of openness, discovering, living, and repeat. Brené Brown again. True belonging is the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging to yourself so deeply that you can share your most authentic self with the world and find sacredness in both being part of something and standing alone in the wilderness. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Say again. True belonging doesn't require you to change who you are. It requires you to be who you are. Just part of that, how to know exactly where you are, where you begin and end, and self-differentiated enough so that you can really be part of a community and not lose yourself either. And what I love about all of this too is that it's not with the expectation that you're never going to shift, that you're never going to change from who you are. The knowing of yourself makes it also easier to be transformed, to enter into growth, to enter into discovery. I so appreciate being part of religious community. There is a sense of how it feels. I don't usually talk about this in this way because home and family are slightly different than where we come from in our daily moment and come to church. But I so appreciate the feeling of home that comes from being in a religious community. And at its best, not feeling I have to behave in a certain way to be accepted and don't have to kind of keep up trying to impress people, trying to make people like me. I got the worst case of wanting people to like me. It's a double-edged thing in ministry, I'm just going to say. Because sometimes I really have to tell people the truth. That sometimes isn't so popular. But I also get to listen to people and maybe hear what their truth is too. And that is revelation. That is a precious gift. In a religious community such as this, we are generational. We are people coming in and bringing their children and inviting their friends and people who have been here for decades, all in that flow of people coming in and out. And especially for those who are finding this for the first time in their lives. Like, what is this church thing? Ooh, look, it might be a good idea. What a precious opportunity to be in a place that is a safe place to be the self, to be known, even when, not if, even when being socially awkward, even when we're not having a good day of figuring out how to relate to one another. It's okay. And it's not necessarily in the big moments, like coming to service on Sunday. That's pretty big, right? But it is part of the daily moments, the incremental moments. You never know when a conversation you have at coffee hour is going to change your life. You don't. It is this basic component of belonging that we get to keep being connected to each other and in recognition that other people are here too. We are not these isolated beings, that we are in a deep relationship with other equally qualified people. It is not easy. There is no magic. The workings of being in religious community is a source of great frustration to some of us. It is a place where we feel like maybe people aren't seeing what needs to be done, aren't taking care of things, maybe our feelings hurt because somebody ignores or somebody's a little bit mean or somebody's a little bit grumpy. There can be one of the most powerful, profound experiences can be when somebody is feeling alone in the midst of a crowd. You can have that feeling at church at times. I've certainly had that. This place can be a source of grief, can be a source of loss, that if we have been here for a while, if we thought we had gotten to know some people and we're looking forward to seeing them, and maybe they aren't here in the same way they once were. This has been this profound shift in the last, 6 years. It's no small thing to realize that the people we loved seeing, we aren't seeing them on a regular basis for whatever reason. And that what had been, what we had felt was the flow and the character of the community has shifted, and it's not what it once was. Sometimes what we thought was solid and reliable is not so much, especially in times of hardship, how important it is to be paying attention to one another. It can be so easy to focus on the people we see, but sometimes we forget about the people we don't see. And we have such a crowd of people that we don't see and yet still are part of the congregation. And it's up to us to help keep making that relationship happen, to keep reaching out and connecting with one another. Because we still need this place. We are a profoundly human institution with all the benefits and brokenness. And for me, it is a practice. It is always a practice. It is never a finished state. There's no one perfect moment of, this is church. We're going to hold this in amber forever. That's not the nature of religious community. We keep flowing and keep answering and asking the questions about what does belonging mean? And how are we together? When we act from the understanding that other people are here with us, that we matter, that other people matter, we nurture that sense of belonging. We make it possible for us to be here for our children and for our friends and for the next visitor and for the next people to come that we will never see. This place is worth doing that practice. And it's a practice of belonging that is healthy and affirming and respectful and loving. Healthy and affirming and respectful and loving. It is work. It is good human work. And it's part of a larger work because it's not just about us and one coffee hour or one congregation or one area of the country. It is part of a larger work. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about the beloved community. And he was talking about not this utopia, but a community forged through struggle and sacrifice, through nonviolence, and in the larger work that we are simply by being together and relating to one another. We are contributing to the dismantling systems of oppression simply by recognizing that every person is a person. That is a profound thing to say in this time. Every person is, in fact, a person. And the dignity of all must be honored and respected. In our context in Unitarian Universalism, the aspiration to beloved community invites us to move beyond individual belonging, as my colleague, the Reverend Michelle Collins says, to move beyond individual belonging and into communal liberation, to ask not only who feels welcome, but who shares power. Who shares power? Who is heard? Who gets to shape the future? This is why radically seeing each other as fully human is so powerful. We are shaping our world. It is a theology that refuses to separate love from justice and belonging from equity. Beloved community challenges us not to rest in comfort, but commit ourselves to the hard and beautiful work of building a world where all can truly belong. This is our task. Whether we relate to each other out of a sense of grief or hope, as Naomi and Ruth did, whether we try to be authentic in ourselves, recognize when belonging can be negative and damaging, and keep holding on to what is most valuable to us. And take that further into how deeply we are intertwined and interconnected with one another and with our entire world. It is the work we get to do. I close with a thought from my colleague, the Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. I so appreciate how they articulate this. May we feel our interrelatedness with all beings on earth, human and non-human. May we remember always the belonging that is ours simply because we were born. And may we place our faith in the strength of those connections. May we commit ourselves to the work of keeping them healthy and good. Amen. I invite us to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit by Jim Scott.
Good morning, my dear friends. We are indeed devoted to each other, with each other, part of each other, and I'm very glad for that, very gracious for that, and I thank you. The words of our final words today, Carry the Flame, are by Reverend Brian Keeley. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet.
We end our gathering with gratitude for camaraderie, shared wisdom, goodwill, and support that we extend to each other within this community. May we continue to bless each other with these gifts, and may we reflect those blessings back out into the world as we minister and serve those around us. Our worship is ended. Let our service begin.